Okay, hi everybody. So when I was growing up, we used to we lived in the country, right? And so there wasn't much happening. It wasn't like today. Not everybody had the internet, and it was like we just had a few stations on the television, and so it was easy to get distracted by something, right? And become interested in something. So there was a situation where we would get something in the mail, and they would say in the mail and we were all so easy to trick because everybody was pretty honest, right? So uh, we believed things easily, and so we got this thing in the mail, and we would get these sometimes, and it would say something like, "You have won a prize," right? And it would say you either won $10,000 or a car or a 35 millimeter camera. So all you need to do is come and claim your prize. There's no charge. And so, you know, we decided that it would be great to go, and maybe we won. Maybe we won $10,000. That's a lot of money. So what this really was a way for uh, these companies to get potential customers to come to them. So there was a community where it was a kind of a timeshare community. Timeshare means that they have a like a nice place near a lake or something, and they would sell timeshares on this in this home, in this, like, it's like a cabin or whatever, and you would pay money, a lot of money, to have your 2 weeks in this cabin, in this community down by the lake, by this lake that was far away from us. But they sent these things out across Illinois, you know. So we thought, okay, well, maybe we won $10,000. We didn't know the scam. We didn't know it was a scam. We thought it was just, well, it said something like, actually, it wasn't really a scam, because they would say, you may be introduced to potential real estate offerings, right? And so we thought, okay, well, we don't have any money, so we can't buy anything anyway, so we'll just go and take a chance at getting it'd be nice to have a camera. And so we got in the car and we went down there. But it wasn't like you had Google Maps. You couldn't just, use your phone. No, you had to go down and ask somebody, where's this road? Because they just had the address and a rough little map. And so we had no idea. So we drove, I don't know, it was probably 2 or 3 hours to drive. And so we would have to go and stop at a gas station and ask where such and such a road is. And then we'd have to drive down a country road, and then we'd get lost and turned around. We'd have to stop and ask somebody else, and somebody said, well, that's right down here. Well, you need to turn left here. Oh, you've gone too far. And we'd stop, and, oh, you went too far. No, you need to go back, right? So we finally arrived at the place, and they gave us the timeshare sales pitch, right? And we actually would have loved to have purchased this timeshare, but we didn't have any money anyway. Uh, so so anyway, then they said, okay, well, we'd like to get our prize, right? And so they would open this book, and they'd go down and they'd say, oh, see this number, oh, we got it, yeah, oh, good, you won the camera. And it was, they brought the camera out, and it did look like a sort of like a it looked like the picture, but it was like a reproduction of it was this cheap crap, uh, you know, uh, reproduction of a real camera. It was a joke, right? And it was, but anyway, us going to place, it was what's called like a wild goose chase, because we went on this wild goose chase trying to get our $10,000, and we ended up getting this stupid camera, right? And we got scammed. But a wild goose chase means you're going kind of trying to accomplish something, and you're being led from place to place, and you really is sort of like wasting your time. The whole day was like a waste of time, but it was fun because we would get out and we would make jokes and stuff as we're driving, and we would stop and eat and whatever. So it was fun. But what was ridiculous is we really had this hope that we were going to like win $10,000. Well, if I get $10,000, Mom, I want to get a motorcycle or whatever. And the whole thing was ridiculous. So this is called a wild goose chase. Okay, and a wild goose chase is started from this thing. Let me show you how this started. Okay. Geese fly in this formation where they follow the leader. So back in a long time ago, 1500s or something like that, in the UK, they had this thing called a wild goose chase, a horse race. It was a kind of a game that they would play, and they would have one guy take off on a horse, and the guy on the first horse would do this erratic pattern and go from place to place, and the job of the other people in the race were to follow him exactly in this exact pattern. But it's so just think of this kind of crazy pattern that the first horse was trying to do to get everybody to follow him, right? Well, that's what a wild goose chase, the image, this going from place to place and really accomplishing nothing, right? So I'll give you another example. I was trying to get this the explanation of how I would pay my taxes in Japan on private lessons that I taught, because it's if you make a little bit of money, maybe nobody's going to worry about it too much, but if you start to make significant amount of money, you got to, you're like kind of like a school, right? So you have to pay your taxes, right? And so I needed to figure out how I was supposed to pay my taxes, because I had employment and then this other income that I was possibly going to get, right? I was planning to start doing a lot of private lessons. Okay, so I had to figure out this very, very simple thing, right? You would think that this would be so easy because there's a ton of private, you know, people, uh, they're painters and carpenters and all kinds of people doing independent work. You would think this would be very simple, right? But every time I went to it, I would go to an office. They were obsessed by the fact that I was a foreigner, and they would say, you know, oh, I can't speak English. Just a moment, and it was a big drama, and they would always lead me on a wild goose chase. They would call, and they would call somebody, and they would try to get the information, and then they would send me to this address, and I would go to that address and talk to somebody, and what do you need? Huh, what, oh, what, right? And it was this crazy wild goose chase, and they sent me around to sell me. You need to go here. Oh, no, you need to go here. Oh, and they sent me to at least 5 different locations. Finally, I just gave up. That's what's called a wild goose chase, right? I spent the whole day, it was so tiring in dealing with these people, right? And nobody seemed to know what was going on. You'd go to this place that's called tax office, and nobody knew anything about it, right? You would think that it would be so simple. I would say in the U.S. it would be a lot easier, right? But, and regardless of the language, right? But it happens. It happens in every country, I guess. Somebody in, I belong to this Polish-based, because I've always been wanting to go to Poland, and these foreigners that live in Poland were talking about these wild goose chases that they would have to go on just to get their driver's license, right? But anyway, wild goose chase. Okay. So wild goose chase is sort of going from place to place trying to accomplish something. Okay? One guy was trying to find it, that I know, he was trying to find a job. And somebody sent him on a wild goose chase to try to talk to somebody about getting a job. Okay? Means he went out to a certain location and they sent him to another location, and he never got the job. Okay, so here we go. I have some other stuff here. This is that the lake where this community was, where they had those timeshares. You know, so people didn't live there because it's kind of like there's not that many people out here, but there's a big place where they can put like condominiums, but people don't want to live out there because there's no jobs out there. So you would buy this timeshare, and of course, their target audience was not us because we were pretty poor, but it was fun anyway. Okay. A wild goose chase is a hopeless pursuit or foolish search for something that is in fact pointless or unattainable. Okay? So, just like that tax document. Now, this woman actually is an English teacher. She's also teaching something, idioms, I think, also. But she has a pretty good example of wild goose chase here.
For example, you might say, I went on a wild goose chase. I went to 4 stores to find molasses. This happened when I was living in Paris.
Okay, so she was the same kind of thing. She was living in Paris, and she was trying to find molasses for a recipe, and then she would go to one shop and they'd say, bonjour, oh, and then they would maybe send her on a lot of places to find molasses. And, you know, I don't know if she ever, I guess she probably never found it. You can actually finally find it, and it's still a wild goose chase. Okay. But there's some other examples here.
idols. This predictably sent investigators on a wild goose chase looking for information from Credico.
Okay, so police investigators are often sent on wild goose chases when they're trying to catch a criminal.
As she led us on this kind of wild goose chase.
Okay, so I guess they're following this dog, and the dog is taking them from place to place. Okay. So this actually is a very common idiom, okay, and it's useful. So you go shopping for something, and they send you from place to place, right? So going on a wild goose chase. Yeah, I went on a wild goose chase today trying to find information about something. You could do it on the internet too. Like you go searching for some information, and it sends you looking for this, searching around, and you can't find exactly what you want. Okay, so I will talk to you on the next idiom. If you like this video, or if you like these videos, like the video, comment, subscribe, and there's a link to buy me a coffee in the description. Buy me a coffee. That would really be helpful to keep these videos coming. Okay, see ya.